Well, hey there, Alpine Church leaders. We're in the studio with Pastor Dave and Pastor Ross. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Pastor Ross is your director of small groups for all the campuses. So you're going to see a lot of videos just like this. So Ross, it's good to have you in here.
All right.
And in this video, we're talking about mentoring, individual mentoring in small groups. And I know that's a new topic for a lot of our leaders. So where do we want to start with this particular topic? Maybe back up a little bit.
Yeah, let's back up. For one thing, I want to make sure that everybody understands that really mentoring is part of our small group design. That we do small groups a little bit differently at Alpine because mentoring is part of it in the group as a whole, but also we want to learn how to do mentoring individually in the small groups as well.
Yeah, and we talk about in some of our other resources these three mentoring environments, which are the family. Family. We encourage families to go mentor, parents to go mentor their kids, with the kids' resources, with youth resources. So families and then small groups and then individual mentoring.
Individuals.
Yeah, and so we're talking about that third one because I know a lot of people at Alpine are still not quite doing that, not really probably exactly sure how to do it, and that's what this video is about.
Right.
Okay. Before we get into a couple of real practical things on how to do it, Dave, share with us how you're a small group leader and you mentor. Just tell us how that works for you to give us a vision for that, and then we'll get to the details with that.
Yeah, I think we talk about three environments. So one of the environments is our small group environment. But even in the midst of the small group environment, we can do a lot of one-on-one mentoring. And so what I like to do is I love the context of a small group to do mentoring, but then I like coming alongside somebody in the group and doing a little individual mentoring.
Okay, so in your small group itself, which is what night? Thursday night? Wednesday?
Yeah, Thursday night.
So Thursday night, you pick a topic, you use the flex method, right? So we're talking about doing the same thing, right? Picking a topic, but we're just talking about a different environment. So in your small group, you do the flex method.
So like in our small group, we do the flex method, but we do the sermon based.
Right.
So we'll take that week's sermon.
Yeah.
We will then work through the questions as a group. That works out great.
Great.
But then there's some guys in the group that I want to meet individually.
Okay.
And there we're going to do a topical approach.
Yeah.
What maybe best meets their needs, their experience, where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So that's, again, a mentoring approach, but it's with an individual.
Okay, so again, just so you're clear on this, and you can talk about this later with your leadership teams. So small group mentoring is one thing. The small group, the way it works, very similar, but when you meet with this other guy, maybe on a Saturday morning over coffee, that's just one-on-one.
Right.
So do you do the same topic with him that you did on Thursday night?
No, we're gonna pick a topic that meets his needs. We're gonna look for a topic that scratches where he's itching, and a topic that's relevant to his life.
Okay. So maybe it's a topic that he might not even be comfortable talking about in a large group, potentially. Right. So it allows you to get to some other topics.
Yeah.
And that's really the value of mentoring, would you say, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps people. In a small group, you can sit and be a little bit passive.
Yeah.
If you get into a mentoring relationship, you start to realize, I could do this too.
Yeah.
So eventually that person could go on to mentor somebody else.
Okay, now I can just see some small group leaders at Alpine watching this and stressing out. They're like, you baited and hooked me now. I thought I was just a small group leader, and now you want me to do this other thing as well. Director, Pastor Ross, what would you say to that? What kind of wisdom do you have for those small group leaders?
Now, you know what? Small group leaders at Alpine, you've been doing a great job. First of all, we just want to say thank you. I know so many great things happened in the GRID campaign we did a few months ago. And first of all, we appreciate the job you're doing, how challenging it is, and some wonderful things happening in small groups. So first of all, we want to make sure you understand that these guys are, we have some really gifted leaders among our small group leaders. Yeah. And so we're really asking you just to learn with us how to take it to the next step. We don't have all the answers on this, but if you'll join with us and learn how to do this, then it's really going to help your small group get better. It's going to raise up more leaders in your small group. It's going to help your small group have more impact in the lives of other people. So we think there's going to be a payoff for our small group leaders. And because the flex method is the same, that you guys really already know how to do it.
Okay, so I'm a small group leader. I've got 8 people in my small group, 4 couples, whatever. How many people are you asking me to mentor?
Well, maybe just one to start with.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And I would even make it even easier than that. It's just one person. And when we mean mentoring, you might not go up to that person and say, hey, I want to mentor you. What you might do, what I like to do is I just go up to another man. I pray about it. Maybe there's some commonality between us. There's a little bit of chemistry. And I just say something like, hey, do you want to go for a cup of coffee? Do you want to go for lunch? And we just talk about their life and we get to know each other. I might never bring up the word mentoring initially.
Right.
We're just building a friendship and building a relationship.
And so then at some point, you'll bring a little bit more intentionality in with the topical, the flex method stuff.
Yeah, and then at that point I might say, hey, listen, there's this really good topic I found. Would you like to look at it?
Yeah.
And we might literally watch it right then the first time.
That's good.
And then the second time I might say, hey, why don't you look through our library, our video library, and if there's a topic you want, let's look at that, and so let's text each other.
Yeah.
And so the next time we meet, we've both watched it, we've both read through it, and we're ready to have a conversation.
Yeah. And I can say for all three of us and all the staff members, we all do this.
Yeah.
So, but this is something that we really want to push out to our small group leaders now also. So we all recognize it works. It doesn't take a pastor to do it.
Right.
It's totally doable. And maybe the first couple times, I would say, would you agree, are the hardest once you get past those first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Then you really are starting to, if they're still with you, you know, then you're really starting, I think, to get to that value added type stuff where you're helping them with maybe, you know, a theological thing thanks to the library, or maybe a marriage thing, maybe a parenting thing, whatever, or maybe just a guy's thing or whatever. But you're getting to some just real, you're adding value to his life on a topic biblically.
Yeah, for sure.
So Ross, how would a guy pick someone? So I'm a small group leader.
Right, you have 3 or 4 people from whom to choose,
Yes.
maybe.
And you said don't try to mentor all of them right away.
No, just start with one.
Okay.
First, pray about it. You know, there's really ask the Holy Spirit to give you a nudge on that. But another thing is, there might be somebody in the group who's willing or ready to receive from you. So you're going to discern, you know, who in the group really maybe would be responsive to me relationally, or responsive to maybe the things that I might want to share with them.
Yeah, that's good. Just a willingness. I know for a lot of us, we try to pay attention to maybe a newer believer too. I think a newer believer is really a good person, because he or she is usually hungry for kind of another. Hey, you'll meet with me outside of our small group. That's awesome. I mean, they'll be honored, you know, when they do this, when you invite them.
Sometimes there's somebody that you have an affinity to, you have a connection with from some other thing.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's sports or you know, some job connection or something that gives you an easy way to get going with them.
Yeah, that's good.
I think I would say too, just that small group leaders, you are the most important people, I think, at Alpine Church. And God's placed you in a position where you get to influence people, help them go in their full circle journey. And we're even saying, we think God can even do more in and through your life. And so I would just take this not so much as this fearful challenge, but as a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Just a great opportunity to God do more in you and through you than you ever thought he could.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and one of the great things about choosing somebody is that because you're in a small group and leading it, you already know these people pretty well. You know, so you're not going to walk up to a stranger on Sunday morning out of hundreds of people and say, "Oh, hey, can I do this?" You already know these people somewhat, and that makes it easier.
Last question. So the small group leaders watching this video sweating bullets now, saying, it took me enough courage to host a small group and lead a small group, and now I've got to do this. I know there are some small group leaders that are going to feel a little bit nervous about doing a kind of a one-on-one thing. What word of wisdom do you have for that person, Ross?
Well, you don't push it. Just enjoy the relationship. Enjoy hanging out. You know, you don't have to go right into a topic the first time you meet. Get better acquainted and just enjoy getting to know that person.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so that's enough for our conversation. Now we encourage you with your leadership team to use the questions below and talk about this, because really this is an initiative we really want. It's going to take a while, and I mean there's going to be some ups and downs as we go through this, but we really want to push this out to our small groups. So small group leader, it starts with you. In a future video, we'll talk about how you can help other people in your small group to start mentoring. But for right now, we're just really challenging you to kick off mentoring in your small group by finding one person and starting to mentor them.